What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Milky Couch. I am your host, Khadija, aka the best director in the game, and today we are here with Mars Baby. So the intention of the show is to essentially celebrate young people that are coming up in the game, that are making moves, that are shifting culture, not later, but right now. And Mars Baby is definitely one of those people. How are you, sir?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. It's really lovely to have you.
Lovely to be here.
So tell us, who is Mars Baby?
Mars Baby is me.
Yeah.
He's the part of myself that is kind of like a rock star, the part of myself that is very expressive, the part of myself that plays guitar, the part of myself that makes records.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to get into music to begin with?
I think I've always been into it. Like, it was never necessarily something I thought of as like a career.
Yeah.
But I've always just loved it so much. Like, my parents played a lot of different types of music growing up. It was something that made me happy, that helped me to connect with people.
Yeah.
So it's just always been a part of my life.
Okay. So tell me about the title. When I looked at the title, I pictured, like, there's something about the title that makes it feel like a movie.
Right.
So talk to me about the title of the album, like.
Yeah, that was definitely intentional. Like, I wanted it to feel like a movie. I wanted it to feel like there's scenes of my life going through all of that. So Handsome Luke is kind of like a character that like I developed to represent myself.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid growing up, and also like being in the entertainment industry now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So would you say that, like, so Handsome Luke and the Heartbreakers, was it a metaphor? Was it a reflection of you?
Absolutely. I mean, like, at face value, I think I'm kind of handsome, you know, like, I'm not bad looking, right? So Handsome Luke is me. He's sort of like the part of me that's like an entertainer, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of that title that I gave myself. And then the Heartbreakers are kind of like the people you meet along the way, or the people you have relationships with, or the experiences you have along the way.
So when you speak, like, on the songs, you're not speaking about one person. It's like different episodes of different things happening.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I did get that. I won't lie to you. So the first song, Bleeding, we start with bleeding, and like, you know, like when a movie begins and like it begins and you're already in it.
Right.
Like it felt like we were like, oh, okay, we're in it.
It's like that part of the movie where you're like, so how did we get here?
Yes, that's exactly how it felt.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly how it felt. How do you process intimacy as well as vulnerability in your music without like creating those boundaries respectfully, but also being able or being vulnerable enough to be like, I want to share this with the world?
There's definitely certain things in my life that are just for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm very aware of what those things are. And when I'm putting myself out there, I'm putting like my story out there, there's certain people or situations or details that I'll always leave out, because it's like, I don't want to put people on blast or stuff like that.
For sure.
I try to tell like my side of the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not like throw anyone under the bus or anything like that.
I get that. It felt like I was getting your side of the story in every single song.
Right. But
like,
it's more focused like on my feelings about the situation.
Okay.
More so than like, oh, this is what you did.
You did, yes,
Yeah.
So talk to me about the album cover. I found it very interesting. At the top, it wrote, "Less likely to succeed."
Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
That's sort of just like a little joke. So it's sort of a play on like a high school yearbook vibe, right? Because you got like the little corny blue background and all of that stuff. So it's sort of like the part of me that was growing up and like wanted to do this, like wanted to be a musician, wanted to make music, and it's kind of just like a dig at the people who didn't believe in me. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. And was there like, in the process of making the album, was there a song or a specific lyric or anything specific that felt like it cracked the album open for you?
I think Bleeding was one of the first songs I recorded.
Sure.
So I think it was definitely that became like the center of the album for me, like the message I was saying there. And I think the duality of Bleeding is like, I'm living this crazy like rock and roll lifestyle. I'm a musician and I can't necessarily like give this person what I need or what they need from me. And so there's a line in there that says, I'm okay with, I'm gonna start from actually the beginning of the line. So it's like, if I'm such a sinner, then you should save me, because I'm so undeserving of your sanctity. I'm okay with demons, because Jesus loves me. And I think that's like my favorite line on the album, because it kind of exposes that duality of like, I'm a person at the end of the day, and I'm deserving of like validity and like fulfillment and happiness. But at the same time, it's like, it's difficult for me to find that with a person.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I get that.
But Jesus loves me. Yeah.
And how did what did you learn about yourself after having recorded the album that maybe wasn't necessarily there when you had started?
I learned that like I can do a lot more than I thought I could do. Because leading up to it, I sort of had boxed myself into a very specific type of sound and a specific type of vibe. And I learned that I could be like loud and crazy, and I could be like soft and intimate, and I could say whatever I wanted to say, and I'm really happy with how that came out.
Yeah, there was a level of like self-expression that...
Absolutely, yeah.
Sure, that's just beautiful, just beautiful. One of the songs actually reminded me of like, you know when like girls are getting ready for a party?
Yeah.
Or like there's a scene in like, I don't know, like maybe Mean Girls. For me, like one of the songs felt like, it literally felt like a movie, dog.
Yeah.
Like it felt like an A24 type movie.
Right.
Would you ever do something visual for the album?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you mean like a full visual?
Yeah, like a short, like a visual short story, or...
Yeah, I think that would be dope. I mean, you said Mean Girls, like, that was very much the vibe. You know,
really?
Like the early 2000s, like, high school, college movies.
Yeah.
That was a big reference for, like, the sound and a lot of the visuals that we did put out, like, the music videos.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, like, a little short story about, like, college or, like, you know, like, something really, like, cheesy early 2000s vibes.
Yeah, I think it would be lit.
Yeah.
So, what was the intention behind Bleeding? I know we've been speaking about it, but I want to understand, like, why Bleeding?
It was just something. Can I swear?
Absolutely, no. Everyone asks.
Yeah, it was just some shit I had to say, really.
Yeah.
I was going through a breakup when I wrote it, and it was about more than the breakup. It was about like, what are my values moving forward? What is my life about, and how do I share that with a person? You know what I mean? And it's kind of a statement on like, yes, I'm gonna be this person, you know, for the rest of my life in whatever way that manifests. I'm gonna be a musician, and I'm gonna put that first and foremost. Yeah. And you know, hopefully it works out.
It will. It definitely will. And then, okay, so blending genres, because I feel like the album in itself also feels like genre fluid. There's a lot like that's happening. We're not just hearing one sound throughout the album.
Yeah.
How would you say like those elements were present, especially in the South African landscape of things?
I think it's like it was a mixture of all of the things that I've like worked on in my career. Sure. Because I'm also like a producer, right? So I've worked on a lot of R&B stuff. I've worked on a lot of hip hop stuff, and there was elements of all of that. You know, a lot of the people that like I like to listen to are the people that I've worked with. You know, in elements of the production with like 808s and stuff, or certain ways that I would hop on songs. Then there was a lot of like the R&B vibes and like the delivery, but then in like the structure of things, it felt very like alternative and like almost rock. You know, which is a big influence for me personally. So it's kind of just like a mixture of all the different scenes I've been a part of, like over the course of my life, and, like, in Cape Town and Joburg and all of that.
I want to go back to what you said. You said producer. We have to correct that.
Yeah.
We have to say, please correct it. You know what I'm going to say, right?
You're going to say summer winning producer.
Yeah, exactly. You got to say it with your chest. It's not a small, like it's a big deal. Like it's a big deal. Shout out. So Be My Gun. Be My Gun feels like it carries a lot of like nostalgic undertone and like a fresh sonic identity. Can you talk us through like what that was about?
So yeah, Be My Gun is kind of like, it's about a toxic relationship, you know? And you know, we hear a lot about people treating people as objects, right? So I'm like, you know, what type of object would like a person in a toxic relationship treat their partner as? And, you know, if a person is like prone to like conflict or like violence, like maybe they treat their partner like a gun, like some sort of like accessory to the shit that they're doing.
Oh damn.
You know what I mean? And I viewed the whole thing as like, there's actually a Vince Staples song that is sort of similar to it, where it's like you think he's talking to a girl, but he's talking to a gun. So I sort of envision like this this sort of like criminal type person talking to like his lover or his ex or whatever after everything has hit the fan. And I wrote from that perspective.
So talk to me about like, what did you grow up like watching? Like, this could be anything. This could be cartoons. This could be anything.
I watched a lot of like grown people TV when I was young.
Yeah.
So when I was small, I lived in the States for a while because my mom was like studying there. Both my parents were working quite a bit. And so I would come home and just like, you know, your parents give you like certain time where you have to do your homework and watch TV and stuff. I was just watching TV. And we didn't have like cable. It was called cable in America. So we didn't have cable. So I didn't have like Cartoon Network or any of like those things during the week. So I would just watch like the grown folk stuff, like a lot of like sitcoms or like crime shows. Like I watched a lot of like sitcoms. Like I watched Seinfeld a lot and Friends and you know all of those classic things.
Yeah.
And then I'd watch like all of the drama stuff also, like the soapies and shit.
I'll tell you why I'm asking. I'm asking because I feel like, and I said this to you before the interview, but like your imagination is like wild. Like you're creative. Like you're very creative. I wanna see visually what this album could look like, because in my mind I feel like, damn, it would look incredible. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's dope. And then with Stay, you've collaborated a couple of times with Lord Keys, and I think that there's a synergy there. There's a connection. Talk to us about like how fruitful that relationship has been for you, both personally and musically.
Yeah, I mean, Kez is one of my best friends, and I actually have Kez to thank for like where I'm at today in a very direct way. Like I met her one day just randomly at like a club in Cape Town. And that night we started making music together. We became very close over the course of like a couple months. And she was already kind of signed to like this independent label. She spoke to her label, they flew me up to Joburg, and I started doing production work for her. And that label would eventually become Slikour, which is the label that we both signed to now.
Okay, I see.
So Kez is really the one that like pushed me to take music seriously.
Yeah.
We've worked on a lot of stuff together, and it's always like a different vibe, but it's always like the same vibe, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really one of my best friends.
Oh, it's so sweet. Because I feel like you said that you guys are different but still the same, and that you still Mars Baby, she's still Lord Cares, but like you guys come together evolved. When you guys come from one project to another, does it feel like you guys come having evolved or grown, and there's a different type of sound that you guys create too?
Absolutely. It's just like, it's a real pleasure to like see her grow as an artist, and at the same time I'm growing as an artist, and we meet. It's sort of like having an old friend that you only see once a year, even though I see her constantly, but like when we work on stuff, it's like, oh, this is what you're doing now. Let me try and match that, and vice versa. So it's very cool. I think we just like growing in our own rights and leveling up together, you know, as a duo also.
Yeah, I get that. So Break Free feels like very personal and very like emotionally charged. What would you say like the dynamic shift was between you and Hannah Ray in the space?
So Break Free is interesting because it's the first song that like I didn't start, like, and I didn't create first and foremost for myself. Break Free was actually Hannah's song.
Okay.
And she left it like in the studio, and I heard it one day, and I was like, I'm stealing this. But not stealing, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean,
Yeah, I texted her and I was like, I'm stealing this. And she was like, okay. And so her part of the song was already finished, and I was kind of playing off of what she was saying.
Yeah.
And I sort of took it as like, how do I express myself, like my frustrations as an artist, feeling like slept on, or feeling like people don't understand my vision and all of that. And so I sort of tied that into what she was saying about like breaking free and stuff. But yeah, it's a beautiful song. I'm really happy that she gave it to me. So shout out Hannah Ray.
Shout out Hannah Ray. And then if Handsome Luke is a central character, because it does seem like like Handsome Luke is, what roles would you like feature to play into the world? Like, are the people that you featured on the song like narrators, a part of the story as well? Are they like echoes of what you're messaging, like Lord Cares, Hannah Ray, etc.?
Absolutely. So, I mean, they're like the Heartbreakers, right?
Sure. So
Handsome Luke and the Heartbreakers is sort of like, it's like this old sort of like, I pictured it like a 70s band, you know what I mean? Like, here's Handsome Luke and there's the Heartbreakers, you know what I mean? Okay. And the Heartbreakers are all there in the back, like, you know, doing the backup vocals or whatever. But they're also telling like the other side of the story for me. So it's like I'm, you know, going through life, and these are the experiences that I have, and this is their perspective is like, okay, what did people feel about me in that moment? You know what I mean? Like if I had an issue in a relationship, what did the girl feel about me? You know what I mean? And I think that's why I sort of did it like one at the beginning, one in the middle, one in the end, to sort of bookmark like a sort of relationship or the story I'm telling with that relationship.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Who would you want to work with? Like, who is somebody that you maybe haven't yet worked with that you'd want to work with in the future one day?
There's a band called Club Valley. I've been trying to work with them for a while. I think they're keen, but like we just haven't gotten the timing right.
Sure.
But I really want to work with them. I think with some of the rock shit that I've been doing, I think like Internet Girl would be very cool.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of them. Yeah, that's all I can really think of at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. And then So American. So American evokes like the listener to reflect on identity, and it feels like it taps into a lot of like real experiences. How did you find featuring it into like the bigger narrative of the album?
I think it's very representative of the whole thing. Yeah. Because I do have sort of like, I mean, I grew up in America. Yeah. So I'm so American, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but at the same time, it's not about me. It's about like people presenting themselves a certain way. You know, people going overseas for like 2 weeks and coming back with like an American accent. Yeah. Or like people thinking that they like super Hollywood and famous and stuff. Where it's like, relax, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's sort of like a big part of the narrative of the album. Like, fame and like the entertainment industry and sort of the way people act like superstars and how I navigate that. Yeah.
Do you feel like in your experience you've been able to kind of, or to be able to see whether somebody's being authentic? Yeah. And like not being authentic or whatsoever?
Yeah, I think if you work in this industry, it's something you have to develop very fast or else you'll kind of end up losing out on a lot, you know what I mean? And that's not to say like we're not all hustling and stuff, like it's Joburg, right? Like everybody's on their agenda, everybody's trying to make something of themselves, and I can respect that. But there has to be like a line somewhere, you know what I mean, between like the personal and the professional.
And how do you feel like we've been today? Do you feel like we've been fake or authentic?
You guys have been so fake, honestly. No, I'm kidding. You guys have been lovely.
Okay, now I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad. Is there a song on the project that feels like your personal anchor? Like a song that you like normally go back to or that you would go back to?
I think Forgiving You is a big one for me. Forgiving You is very personal. Like it's a very jiggy one. But it's also like if you listen to the lyrics, it's actually about like my family and my relationship with my family and some of the stuff that I've gone through in the past and the turbulence that I've had with my family. Yeah. And it's about like mutual forgiveness, like them forgiving me for where I've gone wrong and vice versa.
You're like, what? Like, I just want to get inside your mind and understand what's going on. I think I enjoy how you are able to write or to create from even outside of your own perspective or to be considerate of somebody else's. Right. I think sometimes like when people create music or when artists create, it's like, maybe it's about me, and I think that's okay as well. I can respect it. Yeah. But I do appreciate how you're able to think from outside of your own perspective about your experiences. I think that says a lot about you. Yeah. So that's dope.
I mean, we all go through the me phase. You know what
that's
I mean?
true.
Like, I've definitely been in the me phase. I've been the guy, like, taking voice notes that girls send me and putting them on tracks and stuff like that. Or, like, you know, getting angry at someone and putting them on blast and stuff. And I think it's like, at a certain point, you have to realize like you're not the main character, even though you are the main character in your music. But what you do and what you say affects people and affects how people feel and stuff like that. So you can say whatever you want, but like you got to deal with the consequences.
For sure. Yeah. Has your family listened to the album?
Yeah, they like it.
Really?
They like it a lot. Yeah.
That's dope. Are you an only child or do you have siblings?
No, I'm an only child.
Really? Same. I could tell.
That's so.
And then for emerging artists out there, what advice would you give them, and how would you say they could like start to like just being able to be in a place? Let me phrase it differently, but what advice would you give anybody that's like an emerging artist that's trying to break out of their shell and be expressive about what it is that they have to say?
I would say just like go for it, like put yourself out there as much as possible. Yeah. There's so many artists that are sitting on like so much music that they don't put out. There's so many artists that aren't promoting themselves on social media, even though it's like all you have to do is push yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right? Get that first song out there. If it flops, make another one. You know what I mean? It's really that simple.
For sure.
Like just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like, because I feel like this album, there's something that it's doing and shaping the culture genre-wise for rock. How do you want to see it evolve in the future? How do you want to see it like inspire other kids?
I just really want to see like all the different like vibes come together, and that's why I made it like this, because there's like a little bit of pop, there's a little bit of R&B, there's acoustic vibes, there's a little bit of rock, and it's like those are all things I love. I have friends in all of those spaces. I've come from all of those spaces and experienced so much like love and beauty in all of those spaces, and I just feel like if all of those spaces come together, there's so much power that we have as artists to shape our community. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to see moving forward for everyone.
For sure.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist right now?
My favorite artist?
Yeah.
Like locally or like in general?
Literally anybody.
My favorite artist right now, I would say it's a guy called Breakins.
Okay.
He makes like hyper pop.
Okay.
So it's like super fast and glitchy, and he screams a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now on our third section. So the third section is a game, and it's called Red Flag.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and then you're gonna take this. Don't worry, it's clean, it's good.
Okay.
You're gonna take this, and then you're gonna be like, nah, that's a red flag. Or if that's something that you can live with, then you'll say that's a green flag.
That's
or
a green
like,
flag.
it's okay.
Got you.
Here we go. They make better playlists than you.
That's a green flag.
Is it?
Because I make trash playlists.
Okay. They say Frank Ocean is mid.
That's a red flag.
Oof, why is it a red flag?
Frank Ocean is a generational artist. He's like one of the best artists, if not the best artist of our generation.
That's real.
To me.
That's real.
You can't say Frank Ocean is mid.
You can't. It's not allowed.
Nah.
They only listen to your music when they're sad.
To my music?
Yes. They listen to your music, but only when they're sad.
Nah, it's a red flag.
Why is it a red flag?
Because I got lots of music. I got lots of different types
That
of
is
music,
true.
you know?
That is true.
Yeah.
So they're definitely not the one if they just listen to your music when they're sad.
Nah.
For sure. Then they text K, and then they ghost you mid-convo.
Red flag.
Really?
I'm never texting you again.
That is true.
If you do that to me, I'm never texting you.
Okay. Then have you ever been a red flag?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have to give us a scenario.
Are you sure? Do I have to? I think I'm a walking red flag. Like,
Damn.
honestly. My hair is blonde. I have like hand tats. Right? Like, I'm a musician.
Yeah.
Like, everything about me screams red flag.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, you justified that really good because I can't disagree with that at all.
Nah, yeah, exactly.
Thank
At
you
least
so
I'm
much.
aware of it.
At least you are aware of it and you're honest.
Yeah.
That's important.
But
I feel
deep
like,
down, I'm a sweet person.
oh, I mean, I do get that vibe. You're very
Thank you.
calm, but you're a walking red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, shout out to the walking red flag, everybody. That is the end of the episode. I'm joking. But yeah, we are done with the episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Milky Couch. Thank you so much, Mars Baby, for coming through. It's been more than lovely having you. If you want to come through again, please let us know. And I'm going to make a plan about that shirt. You gotta make a plan about that shirt because I think it adds to the red flag vibe.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
This shirt was made for me.
Yeah, I like it.
Shout out Galaxy Boy.
If you want to see more of your favorite celebs on the show, please let us know on the comments below. You already know what to do. And I'm your host, Khadija, and tuning into another episode of the Milky Couch. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to Galaxy Boy. Thank you to Slikour OnLife. Thank you to Bulek. Thank you. Just thank you. We love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Milky Couch. Bye.
broadcast live